The water is running, and you are mid-speech. One hand is up, making a point to the tiles, and the person you're saying all this to is 7 miles away and can't hear a word. You're good in there, too. Fluent, precise, devastating. Every sentence landing in an order you have never once managed out loud. Then the water runs cool, and you surface, and there's a small beat of embarrassment in the fog on the glass. You've been holding court for 10 minutes. The courtroom was empty. It doesn't only happen in the shower. At a red light, you catch yourself halfway through a speech to the windscreen, one hand off the wheel conducting. On the walk to the shop, somewhere behind your eyes, a conversation is in full swing. Your head tilts at replies nobody is giving. And at 3 in the morning, it drops all pretense. You lie in the dark running tomorrow's difficult conversation, playing both parts, revising your lines while the ceiling listens. Sometimes it's tomorrow's conversation, the one with your manager, drafted and redrafted while you chop onions. The knife pauses every time an imagined line lands. Sometimes it's this afternoon's, replayed. The meeting with a comment stung, and your reply arrived 4 hours late. So you splice it in now, and this time the whole room goes quiet with respect. And sometimes it's neither. It's an argument from years ago, a case long closed, which you reopen in the shower and win again. You've won that argument dozens of times by now, just never once in a room where it happened. Here's the first thing worth noticing. Everyone is doing this. The commuters beside you, the neighbor with the dog, your own parents in their kitchen. Every head on this street holds a private theater, and the matinee runs all day. The second thing is stranger. Look at who gets cast. You never rehearse for the barista. Ordering coffee needs no script, because nothing in you is at stake at that counter. The full productions, the multi-week runs, the shows with revisions and previews, are reserved for a short list, and you already know everyone on it. The manager, before the raise conversation, that one runs on every commute for a fortnight, both parts, every objection anticipated. Your mother, before the visit. Some of those sentences have been in rehearsal for 20 years, polished to a shine. They have never once been staged. The ex long after it stopped mattering, the closure speech still gets the occasional revival, a fresh draft in the shower, a new closing line on a long drive. And strangest of all, the person in the next room. You pace the landing rehearsing a sentence while they sit downstairs, 20 feet and one staircase away, entirely available. Put the list together and a rule appears. Rehearsal time doesn't track how likely the conversation is. It tracks how much the person matters. In fact, it runs backwards. The conversations most likely to happen, the easy ones, get no rehearsal at all. The ones that may never happen get the full run. Because here's what happens on the rare day a rehearsed conversation actually opens. You walk in carrying your script, and within 10 seconds you discover the other person has never read it. They say something you never wrote for them. The whole structure drops away, and suddenly you're improvising, exactly like every unrehearsed person in history. So as preparation, the rehearsals are nearly useless, and some part of you has always known that. It keeps writing anyway. And notice, some of the conversations you rehearse can't happen at all. The person moved away, or won't speak to you, or is gone. The theater doesn't check whether the audience can attend. It books the show regardless. Which means it was never really preparation. Something else is going on in there, and the people who study bonds have a quiet name for it. Attachment researchers say each of us build internal working models, working copies of the people we love, assembled from thousands of hours in their company. Your copy of them knows how they sigh, what makes them laugh, which word they'd flinch at. It knows where they would interrupt you, and with exactly what sentence. Here's the proof you carry one. In the imagined conversation, you don't write both parts. You say your line, and the copy answers, in character, without being asked. It's why you can lose an argument that exists entirely inside your own head. The copy pushes back. You built it too well. It's why the rehearsal room feels so safe. It's the only room where you control the weather. You can pause, rewind, take the sentence again from the top. No ambush, no witnesses. Because the dangerous sentence, said to the real person, can be shrugged at. Said to the copy, it costs nothing. Rehearsal is how you touch the hot thing without being burned. So the rehearsing isn't preparation at all. It's regulation. It's your mind draining the charge from a feeling in a room where nothing can break. The 3 a.m. sessions are your mind trying to feel the worst version in advance, so no Real tomorrow can ambush you with it. That's not madness. That's a fire drill. And the ancient arguments you keep winning are feelings that never got filed. The verdict never felt just, so the case keeps reopening. Every shower revision is an appeal. People were doing this long before showers. The unsent letter, written at midnight and locked in a drawer, is the same pattern in older handwriting. The drawer was never the failure. The drawer was the point. So here's where the pattern turns and looks back at you. Every rehearsal is addressed, and the address list is a map. Read your own map gently. The manager rehearsals are mostly about safety, rent, standing, the mortgage. Fair enough, that's not the interesting region. The interesting region is the mother rehearsals that have run for decades. Somewhere in you a sentence is still waiting for one particular listener, and it has outlasted every version of you that wrote it. The X region isn't about wanting them back. Mostly, it's about wanting your account of what happened to be heard once, start to finish, without interruption. The copy grants what the person never did. There's a region for the friend you fell out with. Years on, you still explain yourself to them from time to time. The friendship ended, the explaining didn't. And there's a region you enter quietly because the dead stay on the cast list. Big news arrives, and the first draft of telling it is addressed to someone who can't receive it. You compose it anyway, mid-kitchen, before you've even noticed. Researchers have a gentle name for this, continuing bonds, and it isn't a malfunction of grief. The conversation doesn't end when the person does. You still run things past your grandmother, and she still has opinions. And notice the theater doesn't only stage battles. You rehearse the good news too, telling them you got the job, imagining one specific face lighting up, practicing the pause before you say it. You save things up. Something funny happens at 11 in the morning, and you spend the afternoon composing the retelling, their laugh already audible in the draft. Half your day is narrated to someone who isn't there. Wait till I tell them. You are rarely alone in your own head, and you never asked to be. And somewhere in the repertoire is an apology. Drafted years ago, polished on certain drives, addressed and stamped and never sent. You know its exact wording. No one else ever has. Check any rehearsal, and you'll find a recipient. There's no such thing as talking to yourself. Even a shower speech was addressed. It always is. Which makes the cast of your inner theater the honest map of your attachments. More honest than your contact list. More honest, sometimes, than anything you'd say out loud about who matters. Now turn the whole thing around. If you carry working copies of your people, then your people carry a working copy of you. Right now, in a car you've never seen, someone may be rehearsing a sentence meant for you. Practicing the timing. Adjusting your imagined reply. Somewhere, someone has been polishing an apology addressed to you for years. You may never receive it. It exists anyway, and it still gets revised. Someone once rehearsed asking you for help all the way to your door, and then, standing on your mat, asked about the weather instead. You answered about the weather. Neither of you knew about the play. Your copy lives in their heads, and it answers. People consult their version of you before deciding things. What would you say? Would you approve? Would you laugh? You are a character in theaters you will never sit in. And the people who shaped you speak through their copies daily. Mid-decision, you hear the exact line your father would say. You didn't summon it, the copy volunteered. That is what carrying someone with you actually means. Not a metaphor. A working model installed by years of company, running quietly in the background of your days. So tonight, when the water starts running and the parliament convenes, you'll know what's actually in session. The eloquence isn't wasted on the tiles. It's your bond doing maintenance, visiting its copies, testing its dangerous sentences at no cost, filing what can finally be filed. The arguments you keep winning are the feelings still waiting for a fair hearing. Reopening them isn't weakness. It's the mind refusing to let something that mattered be dismissed. The rehearsals for people who are gone aren't a failure to move on. They're visits. The theater keeps a stage lit for everyone who mattered, and it takes no direction from the calendar. The sentence you've been rehearsing for years may be staged one day. It will collapse in the first 10 seconds, like they all do, and turn into a real conversation, and real ones usually go better than the script feared. Or it may never be staged at all. Even then, nothing was wasted. Every rehearsal was an hour spent in someone's company, a visit to the copy, kept because the person mattered enough to keep one. Somewhere in the last few minutes, your own theater raised its curtain, didn't it? A specific person, a specific sentence, perhaps one you've been revising for a very long time. Notice who it was. Not the barista, never the barista. The theater only writes for people who hold a wire to your chest. So the next time you catch yourself mid-speech in an empty room, let the embarrassment go. Nobody in that room was imaginary. You're talking to everyone you have ever loved, in the only theater where the ticket is free and the doors never close.